Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, in today's video, guys, I'm going to be doing yet again another movie review, and this movie review is going to be on the 2023 movie directed by Gerard Johnstone, M3GAN. Before I get started with this review, I guess not really a whole lot of announcements to make, other than I'm just going to be continuing off of my normal upload schedule and all that kind of stuff, and then pretty soon here I'm hoping to get back into Ars Political. I'm kind of waiting for something interesting to pop up, and then I can kind of get back into doing Ars Political, because I know some of you have been wondering where that has been, and I was just really busy after I started that channel, so I was just trying to focus on the Ars horror stuff in the meantime. So this year, I'm going to try to get it back, so just stay patient for that. I'm hoping to get started back up before the end of the month, so just be patient for that. Other than that, yeah, just stay tuned for the regular stuff coming up in for this channel, and I think that's pretty much all I gotta say, so let's just get right into this movie review. And this is a very interesting movie for me, a very interesting movie to kick off the year with, and when I saw the trailer for the first time for this movie, I will be honest, it was like not on my radar. I was joking about watching it because the trailer made it look like it was so bad, like a fun bad horror movie. So I thought, maybe there's the off chance that I'll just watch it if I don't have anything else to do, just to, have a fun, bad, good time and just laugh at how bad the movie is. But then I started to see reviews come out about it, and I got to see more of like who's behind the making of the movie and things like that. And there were a lot of good directors and people who were behind the making of this movie. And then on top of that, I had a surprisingly amount of good reviews about this movie, and they weren't reviews where it was like, yeah, it's bad, but it's really fun, but then the critics didn't like it because, if something's fun bad, then the critics still aren't going to like it anyway. Sorry about that, guys. But no, it was actually about how actually good the movie was in terms of like the plot and the theme and the lesson behind it and things like that. So I was like really, really surprised by that. And so it hooked me onto it about a week ago. I decided, yeah, I'm going to go see this movie. Let's check it out. So I have at least one January movie to watch this year, because I don't think there's any other January movies that I have on my radar so far. So yeah, I just figured let's go check it out, and it turned out to be surprisingly a really good movie. I was really, really surprised by it. And so for those of you who don't know what this movie is about, basically this girl at the beginning of the movie loses her two parents, and so her aunt takes over custody of her, and she's trying to find ways to make her feel better and stuff like that. And eventually she decides to go forward with this project that she had already started, but her directors had told her that, no, we can't go forward with this, it's malfunctioning, we shouldn't do it. But eventually she just goes all out with it, and she tries it on her niece at first, and it's the M3GAN project, obviously. And it works out really well for her. It's very emotionally attached to her. She really likes the toy, everything like that. And so eventually she decides to do a demonstration for her directors about this project, and they really love it. They say they got to put it on the market right away and all that kind of stuff. And basically throughout the movie, we get to see, things grow in tension and the problems with it and things like that, and how it's kind of ruining her relationship with her aunt, and how she's becoming a little bit too attached to the toy. And then at the ending of the movie, kind of all hell breaks loose from there. And yeah, that's kind of how the movie goes. Very, very straightforward plot. I don't want to, get into the specifics. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but that basically gives you the general idea of the movie. And I guess let's just start talking about the good stuff that I like about this movie. So like I said, I was really surprised of some of the good themes and lessons behind this movie. And the director Gerard Johnstone, I watched some interviews about him, about him talking about the theme of the movie and things like that. And while I don't fully agree with his views, he made it very convincing of his viewpoint of the world and why technology we should be watching out after. We should be a little bit more careful with what we're feeding to our kids and all that kind of stuff. And so while I don't fully agree with everything that he says, it definitely, I can definitely agree with some of the things where, like, especially AI is a lot more further advanced than you think it is, and there could be projects that could be put out there that not a lot of people expected that we were this far advanced in. And so he kind of gives you this, he doesn't try to scare you, but he tries to put in perspective what would happen if we did this kind of stuff. He's not trying to scare you, but he's trying to tell you, there's some good things to this, but there's a lot that can backfire with advancing technology like this. And basically, in this case, it would take over the job of the parent and make this kid so emotionally attached to a toy that problems start to arise where they start to be very violent if they're away from the toy or whatever it may be. And so I really liked how he did that. He didn't try to necessarily scare you. He tried to be fun about it. He tried to be comedic about it, while also showing you that there are some underlying problems that could happen with this. So he showed kind of the good and the bad behind advancing technology. I really liked how he did that. He didn't try to scare you with it. And so, yeah, like I said, while I don't fully agree with everything that he says, I can definitely see why AI in the future could get pretty scary, and we definitely need to be careful on how we, distribute it, and we need to kind of mitigate it in a way so that it doesn't, all hell breaks loose and stuff like that. So I can definitely agree with that. So that was a really good thing he did there. And this movie was surprisingly emotional at times, where the kid, the poor kid is so, attached to this doll, and you don't really blame it on her. The toy is just, it feels really, really real in the eyes of an infant. So you had some really emotional scenes where she's mad at the aunt for taking it away from her, or she's sad about her parents and things like that. So there's some surprisingly emotional scenes as well. Most of the comedy landed for me. Some of it was kind of like, it was kind of more of childish humor, and I get this is like a PG-13 horror, so not all of it is gonna be like adult, edgy, whatever. So some of the humor in here was a little childish, and it didn't really land for me. But most of it I really liked. It was like dry humor that just the way it was spoken, it just made it funny. A lot of it was coming from M3GAN, the doll herself. So I did like much of the humor. And I don't have a lot to complain. I know there were some people who complained about the fact this movie was PG-13, so they had to kind of cut out on the gore and stuff like that. I don't think there was anything that kind of ruined it for me, other than maybe at the beginning of the movie when the parents are being ran over, and it just cuts right before they get ran over. Like they barely show anything. It's just like they see a plow come forward, and then it's just like gone. There's no like crash, and then there's like a sequence where they're on the ground and the car's on fire or whatever. No, it just cuts right away. That kind of annoyed me. I don't know why, but that specifically kind of annoyed me. But later on in the movie, where the doll is just kind of, going out trying to kill everybody, none of it was really ruined by the fact that this movie was PG-13. So, yeah, there wasn't. I know there were some people who complained about that, but I don't think there was any particular kill in the movie where it was ruined because it was PG-13. Sure, there could have been more. If it was rated R, there could have been more gore, more blood. Nothing had to be really off-screen. But it didn't really ruin for me. It wasn't like necessary that they had to show all the blood and gore. So, yeah, I don't think there was any problems on that for me. And then moving into the mixed category, was there anything that I was kind of unsure about in this movie? Maybe a little unsure about the little girl's acting. I know there were some people who found her a little bit annoying. I found her a little annoying at some points, but then there were other parts where she was actually doing a really, really good job at acting. But there were other times where you're like, just do what your aunt says, quit listening to the doll, So, I don't know, that isn't necessarily a bad thing for me. I think she was meant to be annoying so that you would see, like, the problems that the doll is causing on her. So, I don't know, it isn't really a big issue for me. At this point, I'm really just nitpicking, because there wasn't anything really bad about this movie, necessarily, or even mixed. So, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I just think there was a lot of good out of this movie that I wasn't expecting. And, while I don't think this is a perfect movie because there's nothing bad about it, but it surprised me, and it was, very emotional, very insightful, and I, definitely enjoyed it. So, and it wasn't too long. Hour 45 minutes, I think that was a perfect runtime for this movie. Didn't drag along, anything like that. And so I really got a kick out of this movie. And sure, do I wish it could have been rated R to go all out, but they went with PG-13 probably just to kind of expand its audience, probably more to teenagers is it's what it's trying to target for, so that they can allow them to go in the movie by themselves or whatever. But overall, I really got a kick out of the movie. Don't really have any big problems with it. On Rotten Tomatoes, I gave this movie a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So that would equate to a 9 out of 10, but I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. I don't think it's quite 9 out of 10 material, because I thought about it, and I'd be comparing it to, like, Avatar The Way of Water, which obviously had a lot more time invested into it, and all that kind of stuff, and I thought was a better movie to a certain degree. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. You know, just kind of a few nitpicks here and there to where I don't want to put it as a 9 out of 10, but 8.5 out of 10, that's a pretty solid score and definitely surprised me quite a bit. So tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Other than that, that is it for the review, guys. Stay tuned for the future content. It's just going to be pretty much going as usual, and then I'm hoping to get back to Ars Political here pretty soon. So other than that, like and subscribe, guys, and I will see you next time.